June 11th, 2019, Operation Phantom Sight was released. The season introduced 2 new operators and a freshly reworked Cafe Dostoevsky. But that's not the focus. The focus is a female operator from Denmark named Nokk. Now, Nokk did not start out topping tier lists. She was actually seen as one of the worst operators in the game. Around the time she was released, it was the start of the utility meta. The utility meta is a time period in Siege where every round was less about gunfights and more about clearing bulletproof utility that was in the way of your attack. This was made very hard due to operators like Jaeger, Wamai, and Mira. This came after Ubisoft nerfed movement in the years prior and buffed more utility-based operators. Nokk did not fit into this meta at all, with her ability of going partially invisible to cameras and having muffled footsteps while doing so does little to combat operators like Maestro, Wamai, and Jaeger. Her loadout didn't do much to help it, with her very average primary SMG not having an ACOG and her not so notable secondary gadgets. So naturally in this meta, Nøkk was a very low picked operator, but with the release of Operation Void Edge on March 10th of 2020, almost 9 months after her release, Nøkk would receive frag grenades. This would be a massive buff considering only 5 other operators had grenades at the time. Nøkk's value would increase by a lot, but it was not enough to make her amazing, and people still saw her as one of the worst operators in the game, and it would reflect in her pick rates. But shortly after, when people got used to her grenade buff, her win rates would start to climb, and this is where she would stand for a long time, being a low-picked operator that was not necessarily seen as weak or necessarily strong. But when nading below started to become ever more popular and ranked, Nokk's value would start to skyrocket as other operators like Buck and Finka would lose their grenades. And with Siege entering a more gunfight meta around this time, Nøkk's low recoil gun and high frag capability would allow her to be seen in much higher regards. She would eventually become the highest win rate attacker and most banned attacker in professional play, and entering 2023, Nøkk was seen as one of the best operators in the game. But throughout the early to mid portions of 2023, Nøkk would see a drop in win rates and pick rates in ranked, but in pro play was still one of the most banned attackers and most played attackers when not banned. Now this was due to professional players being able to see much more value in her ability, especially her silent step, which many pros would use to sneak through gaps in defenses to pick off unsuspecting defenders. Professional players were also much better at nading below, not only when aiming for a kill, but also to destroy utility to make their attacks much easier. But Nøkk would not stay at such a high point, as on July 7th of 2023, Nøkk would lose her silent step, which was seen by many, including me, to be unwarranted. This change drastically nerfed her because most people when using Nøkk's ability were not using it to go invisible to cameras, because most of the time you would still end up being seen when using her ability anyways. So this nerf caused her pick rates and win rates to fall significantly, but at least she still had her nades, right? Well, yes, but with the release of Operation Deep Freeze, Ubisoft would rework grenades. This rework would remove the ability to cook grenades, virtually removing the ability to nade below. This rework would nerf grenades significantly, which would lower Nøkk's value significantly. And on top of that, Ubisoft would add grenades to much more operators, once again lowering Nøkk's value. The problem with this is Nøkk's ability is not good enough to make up for the rework, whereas an operator like Sledge or Lion has a good enough ability to make up for the change. Now fast forward a few months to the present, Nøkk is once again seen as one of the worst attackers in the game, the same situation she was in almost 5 years ago when she was first released. And of course she is one of the least picked operators in the game because of that. And in my opinion, in the current state of Nøkk, she does need a buff. So I'm gonna give my opinion on how I think she should be buffed. When you look at her primary SMG, in my opinion it's fine. While being pretty average, it's at least easy to use. Her secondaries are fine, secondary gadgets are fine, even though I think the rework of the grenades was just unjust. The main problem is her very underpowered gadget. Without silent step, her ability is almost useless most of the time, and even if you avoid being seen on the cameras, most of the time people don't position themselves to die to you anyway. And it's not like her ability allows you to destroy utility any easier, so in my opinion, she needs her silent step. After this, she might not be amazing, but at least her ability is so unique that she would fit into the meta just fine in my opinion. And that's really all to her. In the comments, let me know how you think Nøkk should be changed, and if you enjoyed this video, click the video popping up on your screen.